Hi, so what we're going to do today is we're going to make something called scaccia. This was a popular dish when I was growing up. My grandmother always made it. I've seen online they've actually referred to it as a pizza lasagna, which probably gets that name because of the layers, as well because of the folding that's done. Basically, you take a dough. It's not a typical pizza dough because you want it thin. So you take the dough, you roll it out, put some tomato sauce down, some cheese, and you fold it again, and you fold it again, you throw it in the oven. That's basically it. Okay, so what we have here is we have 1 1/4 cup of water. We've got some flour for dusting. I've got 2 1/2 cups of all-purpose flour, and I've got 1 cup of durum whole wheat or semolina flour. To this we're going to add 2 tablespoons of oil. This is olive oil. Just going to work this around, get the oil worked in there. If you have a food processor or stand-up mixer, you can use that as well. But since I don't make this that often, I'm doing it by hand so I can get a feel for the dough and when I think it's about ready. Because normally my baking, I use yeast and do either like pizza doughs, which I will be doing a pizza dough video soon. Okay, so what you have here is you'll have it feels like little pea-like granulates in here. Okay, make a well in the middle. And we're gonna slowly add the water. We're not gonna add the whole thing at once. We're gonna maybe add half of it or 1/4 of it. Start incorporating the flour. So this is kind of an experiment for me, so I'm not quite sure what to expect dough-wise. Like I said, my grandmother used to make this all the time. I've never seen her make it. I used to come in, and it used to be on the cooling racks. Okay, so definitely way too dry. So I'm going to add the whole 1 1/4 cup of water. And I'm just going to work this around. Once it starts coming together, then I'm going to knead it on a floured surface. Okay, so yeah, it came together. I'm going to throw some. So when you knead this, you want to knead it for 6 to 8 minutes. And anybody who bakes knows that your hands don't stay dirty. Your hands will come clean as you knead. So kneading is folding it, turning it, push, fold, push, turn, fold, push, turn, and you'll see it'll all come together. And right now, this feels like a typical wet dough for pizza. And I'm just going to put a little bit more flour down. and we'll just knead it. The dough is done. Feels kind of dense. Doesn't feel wet. I think this is what we're looking for. So now what we want to do is we want to wrap it and put it in a draft-free place for 30 minutes. So my oven's off. I'm putting it in my oven for 30 minutes. And now what we're going to do is we're going to work on the sauce. Okay, so now what we have for the sauce: garlic. I'm going to chop this up. 128-ounce can of tomato sauce. If you have your own tomato sauce, that's fine. Basil. Haven't decided how much basil I'm going to put in, but I got it here, and we'll chop some of that up. Now this is where you might not want to put this in. So growing up, my mother and my grandmother always used salted capers. Hard to find. I picked this up because I saw it, and I knew I would. That's what made me kind of decide to do this Scaccia. What's readily available is capers in vinegar. That's fine. What you want to do though is you want to rinse them real good, as you do with the salted capers. You want to soak these and rinse these real good, and then just keep on rinsing them until you can no longer taste, or you can taste very little of the salt. So I'm going to prep this, and then we'll be back. Okay. So we're going to turn the pot on. A little bit of oil. And as I was prepping, I realized that, you know what? There's no oregano. So I'm going to put some dried oregano in it. Just a little bit. Just doesn't seem Italian if there's no oregano in it. Okay. Let that heat up a second. 4 cloves of garlic. Now what we're doing here is we're not going to like simmer this forever. We're just going to cook this enough to meld all these flavors together, and then we're going to let it cool, and then we're going to put it on the. We're going to roll out the dough, and then put it on the dough. So. Okay. All right, so I've got about a medium heat here. You don't want to burn the garlic. You burn the garlic, it tastes bitter. All right. And goes your sauce. If you're going to use whole tomatoes, or your favorite tomatoes that you like to use, just make sure you use an emulsifier blender or a stand-up blender or something to make it smooth. When you lay it out, it's got to be smooth, almost like like a pizza sauce, or even if you can even use pizza sauce. I'll tell you, I make pizza. I use, when I'm in a hurry, I'll use the store-bought pizza sauce, and it turns out pretty good. So that's on medium. I'm only going to use about a tablespoon of oregano. About a tablespoon of oregano. I'm going to hold off on any salt because of the capers and pepper. So we're going to put in, I like things spicy and peppery. I've got some fresh pepper here, but I don't feel like grinding it up. So we're talking a scant tablespoon, teaspoon and a half. And since I'm probably going to be eating this by myself, I'm going to add about a teaspoon of pepper flakes, just to let you know it's there. I'm going to hold off on putting the basil in. Okay, give that a quick stir. Okay, so the caper's still a little salty. I rinsed them. I'm only going to put in a tablespoon. Let's see how things go with a tablespoon. I'm going to add another tablespoon of capers. All right, I think I'm going to put the basil in. So you can never go wrong with basil. So now after you put the basil in, you don't want to cook it too long. You don't want to cook the heck out of the basil. I actually like the basil to be still a little green. It's been about a half hour, so now it's time to roll the dough out. Okay. So there you have it. That dough looks good. So far, I'm happy with it. I think instead of making one big one, I'm going to cut this in half, and I'm going to make two. Maybe I'll freeze one, or maybe I'll give it to a family member. So we want to dust the surface. We want to dust our rolling pin so nothing sticks. Right, and what you want here is you want to get it as thin as you can, and you want it rectangular. Okay, so I'm going to put this together and do the other one, and then I'll be back. Just like on pizza, you want to go extremely thin. You want to go extremely thin. Clump of basil there. Okay, so that now we're going to fold it. And, oh, no, we're not going to fold it. So, you can use any kind of cheese you want. I forgot to get provolone. I wanted to use a little bit of provolone. Plus, I wanted to use the Parmigiano Reggiano Parmesan cheese. And what and I got the shredded instead of the grated. So we're gonna sprinkle that in here. And one for the cook. Okay. Okay. Now comes the fun part. I don't remember. Oh, the sides first. Okay. We want to bring the sides in. And I didn't put enough flour down on the bench, so I'll know better for the next one. All right, so try this. Yeah, definitely need to put more flour down next time. And this one is not going to come out that great. So I have a pan here with some parchment paper. And this just got all screwed up. Good thing I did two of them. This other piece of dough. And first one I did, I didn't put enough flour down. And I don't think it's going to be as pretty as it should have been, even though it's not supposed to be pretty. So I'm going to be a little bit generous on the flour this time. And then hopefully when I fold it, I won't have the problems that I just had. And I'm not going to roll it as thin as I did before. There we go. I think this one's gonna, I'm not going to jinx myself. Okay, so I'm just going to Alright. So I didn't go quite as thin with this one, but it does seem to make sure. So if you're going to try this recipe, I suggest you do what I'm doing here to make sure when you go to fold it that it's not sticking. And I think I'm good to go. Yeah, see, not so neat, chef. All over the place. This dish is best after it's cooled down, not while it's hot. So there we go. Live and learn, folks. You'll live and learn. Okay. Oops. Layers of sauce. The other one I couldn't do this with because it was way too thin and it fell apart during the folding. And I believe that is it. So now I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it with the seam. Well, you know what? I'll just do that. So since my so you can do a slight tomato film on here because you're going to want to get this dark, almost burnt look on the outside. All right, you don't want to go too crazy, and I can live with that. All right, so I'm going to put these in, and I forgot to look at the, I know it's a 500 degree oven. I'll make sure to tell you the cook time because I'm not exactly sure myself. So we'll be back. Okay, so little mishap. I forgot to put the cheese in. I was lucky where it was folded well enough to where I can unfold it, put the cheese in, and then fold it back. But made a mess. So, well, that's why I'm a not so neat chef. All right, so we'll preheat it at 500. Okay, I'm going to put it in at 500 for 10 minutes. So it's going to go in for 10 minutes at 500. Then we're going to reduce. The temperature to 400, and then we're going to continue for like 60 minutes. I'm not sure if I'm comfortable with that. It might come out a little bit more charred than I would like, but we'll monitor it, and then we'll be back with results, and that's it. So yeah, we'll be back in about an hour. Okay, so timer went off, And this is what we have. And that's pretty much how I remember it. So this is gonna cool for about 10 minutes. Yeah. It's gonna cool for about 10 minutes, and I don't know, I'll cut it open and see what kind of damage there is. Okay, so we cut into it. And yes, this, you can't tell, but there's the layers. It's not focusing. I'm using my phone. There we go. You can see the layers. And it's what it looks like my grandmother's. So now is the real test. It's like my grandmother's. Anyway, I'm going to stuff my face, and I hope you enjoyed this. I ask that you like, subscribe, and I'll have the recipe in the description section. Thanks for watching.